The other day I was doing a TikTok live and somebody asked me about my politics degree and specifically what kind of careers you can get into with that degree. And so I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to make a video answering that question. What kind of careers can you get into with a degree in politics? Now, the short answer to that question is pretty much most jobs you can get into with a politics degree. It's one of the best degrees you could do if you're not sure what you want to do in the future, because there are so many avenues you can go down. But in this video, I'm going to outline 4 possible career paths that you could go down if you do a degree in politics. I've got my notes right here, ready to go. So let's begin with career number 1. The first possible career path you could go down is quite an obvious one. Work for an MP. Literally, be a politician's assistant. It literally does what it says on the tin. So you'll be helping with MP's casework, you'll be conducting research into local and national policy, you'll be looking at publicity, helping get the word out to your MP's constituents, you'll be managing diaries because MPs are very busy, they've got lots of meetings to attend, people to see, interviews to do, so you'll be helping out with that kind of thing. Also helping out with MP surgeries, because every Friday MPs will return to their constituencies and they will speak with constituents who maybe have issues that they want the MPs to deal with, things that they can raise in Parliament. So those constituency surgeries are really important, and that's something that if you work for an MP you'll be helping out with. And you could even assist with campaigns should they come up, local campaigns or even your MP's re-election campaign. Salaries at an entry level can range from anywhere between 18 and 26,000. Senior roles can reach up to £30,000, especially in London. If you're an office manager or a principal secretary, you could earn up to £50,000, especially in London. Generally, working hours are around 9 to 5, although there may be some flexibility needed, and things will be more intense, of course, around election time, or if there's any important legislation or votes coming up in Parliament, you'll be quite busy managing all of that. Working for an MP can be such a valuable experience. You get so many opportunities to do so many different things, getting involved with local politics and understanding how Westminster works. But at the same time, each MP's office is effectively a small business. MPs can hire who they want to work for them, and they are directly responsible for those hires. So let's say if an MP, for example, loses their seat, in the unfortunate event that that might happen, it would also mean that you as somebody who works for that MP would also lose your job because you are employed directly by that MP. Luckily though, with the experience that you'll have gained from your time working with that MP, finding another job in politics will not be that difficult at all, and actually some of the roles I'm about to talk about may come in handy. Many of the skills that you learn from a politics degree can be transferred to becoming a detective or working in some form in the police, because you have things like good communication skills, written and verbal communication skills. That's something you use all the time when studying politics. Evaluating evidence from a range of sources. This is what politics degrees are about. You're making arguments, you're looking at the evidence, you're looking at what academics have said, you're balancing them one against the other to see which one has more weight. That is what you do in the police. You look at the evidence that's in front of you and you say, is it reliable, is it not reliable? To which one leads you to the answers that you're looking for? That sort of thing you already do in a politics degree, and it will certainly help if you work in the police. You've got to have good planning skills, right? So when you're planning politics essays, for example, you got to plan out exactly what you're going to read, when you're going to read them and that kind of thing. Planning skills for an investigation are going to be quite important. Taking a logical and analytical approach. Oh my God, the number of times we've been told in politics modules, you have to do things logically, arguments have to be logical, you have to be analytical in your answers. That's going to come in handy. The types of work you could do as a detective, you could be working on criminal investigations, you'll be doing fraud investigations, the drug squad. I mean, you know, it's all out there. The world's your oyster. Whatever you want to work on in the police, go out and do it. For newly qualified constables in England, Wales and Northern Ireland, salaries start at around £25,000, 28,000 in Scotland. With more experience, you could be looking at around £45,000 for a sergeant, 60,000 for a chief inspector, 70 to 82,000 for a superintendent, and around £90,000 for a chief superintendent. Very, very lucrative position, but of course, it comes with unsociable hours and the work is going to be quite intense. You're going to be traveling quite a lot, going to different investigations. You know, it's not for the faint-hearted, but if it's something that you'd be interested in, absolutely go for it. It's definitely well worth it. Now, to the career that I have been experimenting with for the last year, journalism. You could either work for a newspaper or you could try your hand at broadcasting, which is what I have been doing. Political reporting especially is quite exciting because it takes you to Westminster, it takes you to party conferences, elections are a big deal, and of course, on the day-to-day, hearing what people have to think about what's happening in Westminster and indeed in their local communities as well, and local government issues. There's a lot to deal with there. As a journalist, you're going to be doing all of the bread and butter stuff. You're going to be finding and pitching stories, interviewing lots of people, booking guests, shooting and editing your own content, writing for print and online. The hours can be quite unsociable, lots of night shifts if you're in the industry. It's one of those careers where there's so many people that want to be journalists. It's super, 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 super competitive. Having said that, there are aspects to being a journalist, especially a broadcaster, that are so, so interesting. Going out, shooting a story, chatting to people. Protest stories are always my favourite because you go to a protest, you never know who's going to be there, you never know what kind of character you're going to find. You go, you talk to people, you get good pictures of the protest itself, you come back to the newsroom, you edit the content yourself, you watch it go out. There is no better feeling. It is absolutely amazing. Salaries for newspaper trainees generally start at around £15,000, although I've seen many job descriptions that pay a lot more than that, around £22,000 to £23,000. With experience, you could get around £40,000, and if you make it to the very top, you could get even more than that. Broadcast does tend to pay more than print, starting salaries from around £23,000 to £24,000, especially in the capital, and with experience, you may get £30,000 to £60,000. And of course, the big high-profile names that we all know earn around £80,000. But again, as I say, the chance of actually getting to that high level, so, so rare. Public affairs consultants use their understanding of the political system and communications to offer political and public policy advice to their clients. So the stuff that you learn about on your politics degree in terms of knowing the basics of government, how it works, political parties, ideas, ideologies, all of that stuff will come in handy perfectly for this. The clients that you could work with range from huge multinationals to trade associations and charities, etc. Consultants identify key stakeholders in the decision-making process and work with them to promote their clients' interests. So effectively, in this role, you are a lobbyist. You are getting out there, speaking to the key decision makers and trying to persuade them to take a certain position or outline a certain policy on a certain area that your client is interested in. You could also work in-house for an organization and do that organization's public affairs. So you'd be representing one company, one message, going to government ministers and getting them to support certain policy ideas and things like that. In terms of the responsibilities, especially early in your career, lots and lots of monitoring Parliament, monitoring the parties, monitoring the news agenda and the media. Very, very important. Writing policy papers, writing briefings for clients, campaign materials and press releases as well. And of course, one of the key things when it comes to PR in general, managing relationships with stakeholders. But all of that is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many aspects to public affairs, so many things that are involved. With working hours, they're usually regular, 9 to 5, but as with all things communications, flexibility is key. There may be out of hours issues to deal with, especially in a crisis. If you're starting out as an account executive, you can expect to be paid around £18,000 to £25,000. Consultants can then earn between £25,000 and £45,000. Account directors earn between £35,000 and £55,000. And then managing director salaries can start at £60,000 and possibly even rise above £100,000 in the biggest companies. Before we go, let me throw you a wildcard job that I'm pretty certain you were probably expecting me to mention right at the start of this video, and that is being a civil servant. Now, That would be, in normal circumstances, an obvious choice for somebody who has studied politics, because of course you will be right in the heart of government, making the policy recommendations to ministers about what they should do in terms of governing the country. But in recent times, this career path has become quite shaky. The government has just announced in the last few weeks that they want to make big cuts to the civil service. They want to cut 91,000 jobs and return staffing levels to pre-Brexit numbers. So this also means, therefore, that the graduate scheme, the civil service fast stream, is also on ice for 2023 and possibly even beyond. So that's why I haven't recommended joining the civil service in my main list. But direct entry into civil service jobs, I believe, is still an option. And if that's something that you were considering, it is about helping government ministers to formulate policy and put the government ministers' ideas into action. So you have all kinds of levels of staff. You have administrative staff who take meeting minutes and update records. You've got middle managers who have to have deep knowledge of the policy areas that they work in. They advise ministers, write reports, and help to formulate policy. You then got senior managers who work very closely with government ministers in helping to not just formulate, but actually implement policy as well. And as you'd expect, salaries are really, really good. On the fast stream, they used to offer you at least £26,000 as a base salary. Middle managers can earn between £20,000 and £50,000 depending on the role. Head of departments can earn around £140,000 a year. So if you can get in to the civil service, it is a fantastic career path, and there is definitely the potential for longevity in the civil service. But like I say, at the moment things are quite shaky, so hopefully in the next few weeks there'll be more clarity as to where jobs are going to be cut and which areas are likely to survive the most job cuts. But the fast stream, unfortunately, is going to be suspended for 2023. But that does make me feel a bit smug, because I was rejected from the civil service fast stream 4 times. 4 times. Can you believe that? So now I'm feeling a bit smug that I'm not in that system and my job isn't going to be at risk. I'm going to be staying nice and comfortably in the private sector for the time being. Let me know in the comments, if you have a politics degree, what job are you doing now? Or if you are thinking of studying politics, what would you like to do with that degree in the future? Let me know down below, give the video a like, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.